Hello everyone, my name is Randa Taftaf, and for my motivational design proposal, I have chosen to work on a class that I have taught before and a course that I'm also teaching this coming fall. It is called English for Academic Purposes, 1850 Undergrad. Before I dive into the details of the course itself, I'd like to talk about the 10 steps of the motivational design process. So I just have a simple overview of the 10 steps right here on the slide. We've got to obtain course information, audience information, analyze the audience, and then analyze the existing materials, list the objectives and the assessments, list potential tactics, select and design tactics, integrate with instruction, and then select and develop materials, and finally evaluate and revise. I'm going to go over each step of the process as I talk about the course. So the step one is obtain course information. And so to give you guys a little bit of background about the course, 1850 Undergrad is a course for international students. Most students that are in this that take these classes are in our Pathways program, which means that their English is usually not to the standards that would allow them to enter USF directly. So they would have to do a year where they take additional English classes and other courses to help prepare them for their university classes. And our students come from a variety of different specialties and a variety of different backgrounds. So in one class I'll have engineers, and I'll have students that want to be teachers with all different, with computer science majors. They're all bunched up in one class. Now, as you can see from the course is called English for Academic Purposes, 1850. Students usually are assuming that this class is an English class when in fact it really is not. So we do not teach things like grammar or spelling or punctuation or any of that stuff in this course. And I'll talk about that a little bit more as we progress. So the first step of the motivational design process is to obtain all of the information about the course. I think I've covered most of it. I just need to tell you that this course is a required course, so there's no way they can skip it. They have to take it. The next step is to analyze the audience. I kind of talked a little bit about the audience already, but I'll go ahead and continue. So the audience, like I said, they are students from all over the world. So I'll have students from China or Saudi Arabia or from somewhere in South America, all together in one class. So I've got a variety of different nationalities, a variety of different majors, all together. They're all considered entry-level students. So most of them have just moved to the United States and are suffering from severe culture shock. So add all that together, and it's quite a course to teach. Some of them have just arrived literally maybe the day before or possibly like the week before. So they're still trying to figure out their housing arrangements and trying to figure out where the grocery store is and how to get a cell phone and all kinds of interesting stuff. So that's basically what the audience is. Based on their English language proficiency, there is a minimum requirement. So I don't have any like beginner level students. They're mostly upper intermediate English speakers, but some of them struggle more than others. They have to take a test. Mostly, sometimes it's like a TOEFL test. If their score is high enough, they can come in. And although they've taken a TOEFL test, it really doesn't mean that their English is strong enough. So sometimes you get some students that are really weak, but that somehow were able to pass through all the hoops and get into the class. So it's a variety of nationalities, variety of specialties, and various degrees of English proficiency in the same classroom. That will give you a little idea of what these students are like. These students also are very eager and excited to be in the U.S., so they're really happy that they got in. They're excited to be here, but at the same time, they're a little upset that they have to take these classes because they feel like it's kind of hindering their progression. So they want to kind of run through the hoops jump through the hoops rather than, take it step by step. So they feel like this course is kind of irrelevant or not important because, let's say, a student who wants to study engineering doesn't see the relevance of this course. Anyhow, I'll talk about that again in a little bit. So this course has been revamped at least 4 or 5 times since I started working with USF in 2014. And every time we revamp it, I'm not part of the revamping process usually. However, I am on the teacher end, so I teach the class after it has been revamped. And I noticed that it is improving. However, there's still a lot of areas that need work. And honestly, this course has been amazing because it's given me so many ideas on ways that we can improve this course, because it seems like the issue is no longer the content of the course itself, but rather the motivational strategies or the way that the information is presented. So the ARCS model, Keller's ARCS model, has given me so many ideas on ways that we can make this course so much more interesting. So this is step number 4 in the motivational design process, which is to analyze existing materials. So after I went through and I analyzed the materials, I have some suggestions that I'm going to share with you guys in a bit. Step 5 is to list the objectives and the assessments. So the objectives of the course are, in general, just to give you guys a little bit of background, the objectives of the course are to help students in their future classes. So we're trying to teach students how to read a research paper, how to write a research paper, how to cite, because a lot of them don't know anything about plagiarism, and how to cite information and to write citations and APA and MLA and all that good stuff. So all of the stuff that we teach is really just some core academic proficiency so that when they move on to their courses, whether they're in science or whatever, they're able to dissect and analyze a research paper, know exactly, all the elements of research paper, where to find information. And if they're asked to write a paper, then they know also how to cite information correctly. We also work on skills like note-taking, how to sit in a classroom and take notes, and stuff like that. So the course teaches mostly skills, and these skills take practice. So usually by the end of the course, there's a huge leap from where they started, but skills take time. And so, for example, things like note-taking skills are not something that you can kind of really pick up real fast in like the course of one semester. It takes a lot of practice. And anyhow, I don't want to kind of deviate. So step 5, list the objectives and the assessments. So some of the design objectives that I listed here, this is just an example. I want students to recommend the course. After it's done, we want the learners to understand how that information was relevant to their own courses and their own future academics. And those are just 2 examples. And so the way I'm going to assess those, for example, is that I'll give them an end of a semester survey to see whether they like the course or not, whether it was engaging and interesting enough. And then I plan to do one-on-one interviews and ask some questions about relevance during those one-on-one interviews. So those are 2 examples of some of the objectives and assessments, the way I plan on assessing the students. And I didn't really go over the ARCS model, but the ARCS stands for Attention, Relevance, Confidence, and Satisfaction. Kelly believes that if these 4 items are in line, usually motivation is optimal in a course. And hopefully in the next few slides, I'll talk about each one separately. We're on to step 6 and 7 in the motivational design process. So after we've designed the course, so the first step is basically understanding what the course is about, analyzing the audience like we've done, and then we, here in step 6, we list potential tactics, things that we think that would work. So we put together a list of, we kind of brainstorm, put together a list of all these different ideas that we have for the course. And then in step 7, we're going to pick and choose and select design tactics that we think would work well with our particular course. After we've chosen all these motivational tactics, step 9 would be to select and develop the materials. So I already have a lot of material. I have actually the entire course already designed. I have the syllabus, I have the course guide, I have everything, honestly. What I plan on doing is I'm going to try to make it more visually appealing, because luckily I've taken some courses and now I know a little bit more about graphics. So I'll do that, and then I'll also go back and make sure to add all 4 elements of the ARCS model that I've discussed here, and I've actually written more extensively about it in my paper. I'm going to add all those tactics to my actual course. And my plan is to work on that unit by unit or module by module. So as I go this coming fall, week by week, I will go in and then add some of the motivational tactics that I've brainstormed and test it out and see how it works. That would be the next step. Step 10 is to evaluate and revise. And as I go along, I check and see what works, what doesn't work, and I will make adjustments as I go along. When I'm done, hopefully I'll have a new and improved model of the current course with motivational strategies embedded in them. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Please let me know in the comments if you have any questions or if you'd like to know more about the course. Thank you very much. We're going to integrate those motivational tactics into our content, into our course. I don't have an example here readily available, but for example, one of the areas that I thought would be important is for the attention. It seems like every unit starts kind of like the same way, where there is a bunch of questions, kind of like a warm-up, but we're really not taking it to the next level by really raising their curiosity and stuff like that. So a motivational tactic would be like showing them a surprising video and then asking them some questions to get them thinking and more active and involved in it. So stuff like that, those could be examples of tactics we can integrate with our current instruction. So if we go back to our instruction and then integrate different ways to kind of keep their attention, make sure that they know that, for example, on the syllabus, a way to make it relevant is to really spell it out for them on the syllabus and explain to them how the course objectives would be able to connect with their own personal, or how the objectives would connect with or help their future goals, stuff like that. So those are kind of a few examples of items that I would add to the instruction that I already have.